When was the last time you looked yourself in the eyes and asked a question that actually matters, not about your reflection, not about how others see you, about your life? When did you last ask, am I truly living the life I want, or the one people expect from me? And not the life that keeps others comfortable, fits the mold, or earns approval, the life that feels honest to you, the life that matches who you are on the inside. We live in constant noise, rules, expectations, and unspoken pressures tell us who to be, how to act, and what success should look like. From the moment you wake up, everything pulls at you. Work asks, family needs, responsibilities pile up, bills keep coming. The world whispers that you should be more, do more, earn more, fix more. In that storm, it's easy to lose yourself, easy to forget who you are beneath the layers of expectation. Here's what most people won't say out loud. Every time you pick what others want over what you know you need, you quietly tell yourself that you don't matter. You teach yourself that your dreams can wait, your feelings can wait, your happiness can wait. You mute the voice inside that keeps pointing you toward what's true. And ignoring that voice never brings peace. That nagging discomfort you feel isn't random. It's your inner self waving a flag. It's your heart saying, something has to change, even when change feels scary. Be honest with yourself. How many choices lately came from your values and desires, and how many from fear? Fear of letting someone down, fear of being judged or misunderstood, fear of stepping away from what's predictable. Fear can keep you walking a path that isn't yours, even when another path would bring more joy and meaning. Choosing yourself doesn't mean abandoning people. It doesn't make you selfish or careless. It doesn't erase your responsibilities. It simply means you count too. It means your needs, dreams, and emotions don't sit at the bottom of your list. It means you understand you can't offer your best if you're always drained, unhappy, or disconnected from who you are. Real love toward others and yourself requires truth, not the sacrifice of your identity. When you finally start listening to yourself, something shifts. Your world rearranges. You stop calling in situations and people that drain you. You begin attracting those who truly see, respect, and value you. Life responds when you honor your truth. Doors that felt locked begin to open. Opportunities that once seemed impossible appear. Life feels lighter, even before anything outside changes, because you changed inside. But before that shift can happen, you must face what you've avoided. The fears, the doubts, the old wounds, the beliefs that say you're not enough. Pretending they don't exist doesn't make them go away. Facing them doesn't mean they own you. It means you take your power back. It isn't quick or easy. It asks for patience, courage, and the willingness to sit with discomfort. But over time, something beautiful grows. Clarity, confidence, peace, the ability to know what you want and why. Quick ask before we go deeper. If this resonates, tap like or hype the video. It helps this reach someone who needs it today. Thank you. So ask again, slowly and honestly, am I living the life I truly want, or the one I was told to live? If that question makes you squirm, that isn't a sign to look away, it's a sign to pay attention. Because the moment you begin to listen to yourself, the real you, things begin to change, not with fireworks, not all at once, but steadily, quietly, truthfully. For the first time, you don't just exist, you start to live. When you start choosing yourself, everything changes. You learn to say no to what doesn't feel right. You stop agreeing to situations, relationships, and obligations that drain you or pull you away from who you are. And you do it without guilt, without fear, without chasing anyone's approval. Most importantly, you give yourself the freedom to be real. No pretending, no performing, no shrinking to keep others comfortable. Where do you begin? Start by listening. Notice the moments of tension, stress, confusion, or strong emotion. Instead of numbing out or distracting yourself, pause and ask, what is this feeling trying to tell me? Because here's the secret. Those answers you keep looking for outside, through advice, approval, or permission, already live within you. You just need courage to hear them and strength to act on them. Trusting your intuition can be one of the hardest things you'll ever do. It might nudge you toward change, and change feels threatening, especially when it challenges what you've built. Maybe you're holding on to a relationship that isn't healthy anymore. Maybe your job empties you, but leaving feels too risky. Maybe you've been chasing a dream that was never your own. Ignoring these signals doesn't make life easier. It only deepens stress and confusion over time. Strength isn't pretending everything's fine, it's facing what isn't. Choosing yourself often involves letting go. Letting go hurts, even when it's right. We grip the familiar because the unknown is frightening. We tell ourselves, better to stay where I am, even if it doesn't fit. But change isn't just loss. It's also an opening, a doorway into a more honest life. Ask yourself, what am I holding on to that no longer helps me grow? Which beliefs, habits, or relationships am I maintaining because I'm afraid of what happens if I release them? Choosing to let go can feel like losing, but the true loss is sacrificing your peace to keep what isn't meant for you anymore. The decision is yours. Maybe the real question is, am I finally ready to choose myself? Choosing yourself is not selfish, it's an act of deep love and respect for your well-being. Many of us were taught that putting ourselves first means we don't care about others, but the truth is the opposite. When you honor yourself, you bring more clarity, love, and energy to the people who really matter. When you stand in your truth, life starts to feel like a fog lifting. You see more clearly, you notice who uplifts you and who drains you. The ones who truly care remain. The ones who used your time or kindness fade. That isn't an accident, it's a reflection of your inner change. As you grow, your environment grows with you. But this transformation demands honesty. Choosing yourself isn't only about bold moves. Sometimes it's admitting what you've avoided for years. You let people cross your boundaries. You said yes when you wanted to say no. You stayed quiet when it mattered. You betrayed your own needs to avoid conflict. This isn't a reason to blame yourself, it's an invitation. Each time you choose differently, your peace, your healing, your truth, you step closer to the life that's meant for you. Being true to yourself isn't a finish line, it's a lifelong practice. It's learning, unlearning, growing, and returning to your center again and again. There will be days you doubt yourself, days you feel unsure, days your old patterns try to pull you back, not because they're right for you, but because they're familiar. Real growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. Transformation begins when you step beyond what's safe and choose what's true. Honesty over comfort, alignment over approval, truth over fear. Not everyone will understand. Some will criticize, some will question your choices. Some may distance themselves because you no longer fit the version of you they prefer. That hurts, especially when you care, but choosing yourself means you stop outsourcing your worth. You realize your value isn't determined by other people's opinions. This doesn't mean isolating yourself. In fact, the opposite happens. As you live more honestly, your relationships shift. You stop chasing attention or validation. You seek real connection, depth, honesty, mutual respect. And something beautiful happens. The right people remain, not because they benefit from you, but because they love you as you are. As your inner world finds harmony, your outer world reflects it. That's not luck, it's alignment. When you carry inner conflict, your life echoes it. When you reject or doubt yourself, you meet the same outside. But when you accept yourself, fully and unapologetically, your environment gradually rises to meet that acceptance. Transformation takes time. Progress won't always be obvious. You'll have days that feel like setbacks. Keep going. Your commitment matters most when it's uncomfortable, uncertain, or lonely. Many of us were taught to glorify self-sacrifice, giving away your time, energy, and peace, but constant giving at your own expense leads to burnout, resentment, and losing yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't build healthy bonds while abandoning who you are. Choosing yourself is necessary, because when you're grounded and aligned, what you give is real. It comes from fullness, not depletion. So choose yourself again and again, in small ways and big ones, not just when life is overwhelming, but daily. In your self-talk, your boundaries, how you protect your peace, how you show up, reflect on your relationships. Which ones lift you up and bring calm, which leave you drained and disconnected. Relationships aren't just social ties, they're mirrors. The people closest to you often reflect your beliefs, your patterns, and your self-worth. If someone keeps crossing your boundaries, it doesn't always mean they're bad. It may mean you haven't learned to stand firm yet. Boundaries aren't rude, cold, or unkind. They're acts of self-respect. Your body, your emotions, your inner voice are always speaking. If you feel drained, uneasy, dismissed, those are signals, warning lights. Ignoring them always has a cost, and the price is your peace. Let yourself evolve, let yourself change. Release what no longer serves your well-being. Most of all, allow yourself to choose you, fully, boldly, without apology. Boundaries aren't walls to shut people out. They're healthy limits that protect your energy and teach others how to treat you. They're not punishments or weapons. They're bridges to better communication and connection. When you say no to what harms, drains, disrespects, or misaligns, you're also saying yes to peace, clarity, your dreams, and what you truly deserve. This doesn't mean cutting off everyone. It means paying attention. It means being honest about who supports your growth and who benefits from your silence, who leaves you feeling calm, seen, and valued, and who leaves you exhausted or small. As you honor yourself, something awakens, your intuition. The voice you may have ignored while trying to please others grows clearer and stronger. You learn to tell fear from intuition, habit from truth, familiar from right. Choices that once felt confusing become simple, not always easy, but clear. You notice your body's signals, a tightening when something's off, a sense of expansion when it's aligned. To hear your inner guidance fully, you must turn down the volume of the outside world, let go of chasing approval. Step away from the need to fit in, release the idea that someone else knows what's best for your life. No one else carries your memories, your wounds, your hopes. Only you can feel what is true. When you choose yourself, you send a clear message to life. I'm ready to live in alignment with who I really am. And slowly, things shift. As you align internally, your outer world aligns with you. You start attracting people who respect and understand you. Opportunities that once felt far away show up. Paths that seemed blocked begin to open. Challenges still arrive, but they feel meaningful, like part of your becoming. You realize hard moments aren't punishments, they're lessons, catalysts, turning points. As you keep choosing authenticity, you'll notice perfect timing, meeting the right person at the right moment, hearing the message you needed, receiving an opportunity you once thought impossible. These aren't accidents, they reflect your inner alignment. Over time, a deep peace takes root, not because life is easy or perfect, but because you're living truthfully, because you're honoring your inner world instead of ignoring it, because you keep choosing yourself. But this path comes with resistance. Sometimes the hardest moments come right after you decide to honor yourself. People may push back, old fears resurface, doubts test your resolve. You might be tempted to run back to what's familiar, not because it fits, but because it's known. This is when your strength matters most. Each time you choose peace over pressure, you grow. Each time you protect your emotional space, even if someone doesn't get it, you grow stronger. Each time you trust your inner voice over outside noise, you step deeper into the life meant for you. It's normal to feel fear when you leave the familiar. Growth often asks you to move before you know the full path. But staying where you don't feel alive doesn't protect you, it limits you. Remaining in what drains you because it's familiar only delays the life that would bring joy and meaning. Every time you refuse to choose yourself, you close a door that could transform you. Every time you pick comfort over truth, you postpone your growth. Every time you silence your inner voice to keep external peace, you create internal conflict. The moment you decide, truly decide, that your peace, happiness, and voice matter, everything begins to change. Choosing yourself isn't selfish. Choosing yourself is freedom. It's the beginning of becoming who you were always meant to be. Change rarely feels easy. Whenever we grow, resistance appears. That resistance isn't failure or a wrong turn. It's evidence something is moving. It's the tension between who you were and who you're becoming. Growth stretches you. It challenges your beliefs, habits, and comfort. So when you feel uneasy, remind yourself, this is part of the process, not a sign to stop, a sign that something meaningful is happening. One of the most powerful ways through resistance is honest self-reflection. Ask, what do I value? What kind of life feels meaningful to me? Which choices reflect who I truly am, and which reflect who I was told to be? Clarity around your values makes decisions easier. Your life becomes intentional instead of reactive. Instead of being pulled in 100 directions, you begin walking a path that aligns with your heart. And as you align with your truth, you naturally attract people, experiences, and opportunities that match it. Your outer world mirrors your inner clarity. Remember, choosing yourself doesn't mean walking alone. At first, it can feel lonely because you won't fit old roles or patterns. But as you honor your truth, the right people show up. People who respect you, support your evolution, and won't ask you to shrink to fit their comfort. These relationships feel different, lighter, deeper, grounded in mutual respect instead of obligation. At that point, something fundamental shifts. Life stops feeling like an uphill battle. Decisions that used to feel overwhelming become clearer. You begin to trust and understand yourself. And you discover a peace that doesn't depend on other people's approval or outside circumstances. It comes from within, born from honoring your needs, your boundaries, and your values. It becomes a steady foundation, not a fragile state. This inner work doesn't just change you, it impacts others. Living authentically becomes an example. You show that it's possible to live guided by truth over fear. Your courage becomes an invitation for others to explore their path. Without preaching or pushing, you inspire change simply by being real. Your life becomes a ripple. Now imagine this: letting go of everything that no longer supports your growth, releasing draining relationships, limiting beliefs, empty commitments, and expectations that were never yours. Imagine waking up without the weight of pretending. Imagine having space, mental, emotional, and spiritual, to breathe, to dream, to explore who you really are. Feel the lightness of that freedom, that life isn't a fantasy, it's possible. It waits on the other side of choosing yourself. When you make this choice, you realize letting go isn't losing. You're not abandoning what matters. You're clearing space for what's meant for you. You're creating room for relationships that nourish you, experiences that fulfill you, and opportunities that match your purpose. You start building a life that isn't just acceptable, it's deeply right, one that brings meaning and joy. This is the deeper gift of choosing yourself. Realizing that what you've been seeking, peace, fulfillment, clarity, freedom, has always been inside you. These don't come from pleasing others or living by someone else's script. They come from listening to yourself, respecting yourself, and trusting your path. When that lands, something extraordinary happens. You feel alive in a way you may not have felt in years. You stop being controlled by expectations and fear. You stop chasing approval and start following purpose. Reaching that freedom takes courage. You'll face not only the world's expectations, but your own doubts. The mind whispers, what if I'm not enough? What if I fail? What if I disappoint people? Those aren't truth. They're echoes of old conditioning, shadows of the past. The truth is, you are capable, you are worthy, you're allowed to build a life that feels true. Choosing yourself isn't the finish line, it's the beginning of authenticity, inner peace, and becoming who you were always meant to be. Each time you face fear instead of running, each time you act even while uncertain, you weaken the beliefs that held you back. Piece by piece, you dismantle the walls that said you weren't ready or worthy. With every step, you create space for a new version of you to grow. It's not loud or overnight, it's steady, intentional, and over time, unstoppable. As you walk, what used to control you starts to loosen. Your need to be liked, your desire to prove yourself, your fear of disappointing others. You stop burning energy on validation. You stop comparing and competing for approval. The pressure to be perfect fades. Little by little, you become comfortable being who you are. That feeling is priceless. In this stage of authenticity, you uncover your real power. Not power over others, not winning or controlling. A quiet power rooted in connection to yourself, in trusting your intuition, honoring your boundaries, and living your values. Because it's grounded in truth, it can't be shaken, and it doesn't stop with you. The moment you choose yourself, you become an example without trying. People feel your peace, your clarity, your confidence. Your presence becomes an invitation for others to choose their truth. Understand, this journey isn't linear. Some days you'll feel grounded and strong, other days, doubt returns, old habits will call you back. That doesn't mean you failed, it's part of growth. Discomfort and uncertainty are the edges where expansion happens. Every challenge, every setback offers a chance to know yourself more deeply. When those moments come, and they will, remember you're not alone. The more you step into who you are, the more life brings you the right people. You'll draw in those who respect your boundaries, support your growth, and celebrate your authenticity. The road begins to feel less like a fight and more like a homecoming. Along the way, you'll notice signs, perfect timing, unexpected guidance, messages that land exactly when you need them. A conversation that shifts your perspective, a moment of clarity that appears out of nowhere. These aren't random, they're reminders you're moving in the right direction. Everything you've faced, every fear, every win, every setback, has prepared you for this moment. Even if the future feels uncertain, one thing is true. If you keep choosing yourself, you will build a life that is meaningful, peaceful, and deeply fulfilling. The greatest gift you can give yourself is the freedom to be who you are. Not a version shaped for applause, not a mask to fit in, not a character built from expectations, the honest you, the you that feels true when no one's watching. Your journey isn't about becoming someone else, it's about coming home to yourself. It's realizing that everything you've been searching for, love, validation, confidence, purpose, belonging, has always lived within you. This is your call to action. Life is too short to keep shrinking, pleasing, or pretending, too precious to waste on fear, draining relationships, or roles that don't fit your soul. The time to trust your intuition is now. The time to honor your boundaries is now. The time to step into who you truly are, not someday, not later, today, because when you choose yourself, everything shifts. Your energy, your mindset, your relationships, and eventually, your entire life reflects the truth you've decided to live. Without even trying, you become a light, someone who inspires others simply by being real. This is the power of choosing yourself. This is the beginning of your becoming. So what comes next? For you, not in theory, but in your life as it is right now. After everything you've heard and felt, this is where awareness turns into direction. This is where you stop just listening and quietly ask, what does this mean for me? Maybe there's something in your life that no longer fits, even though you've been pretending it still does. Maybe you've been holding on to an old version of yourself because it keeps others comfortable, even though it's not who you are anymore. Maybe there's a dream you've buried, not because it stopped calling, but because you convinced yourself the timing wasn't right or you weren't ready. And yet here you are, thinking about it again. That matters. The next step isn't about dramatic gestures. It's about honesty, the kind you can feel in your body. Admit what feels right and what feels wrong. What's aligned and what's heavy. What brings you alive and what drains you. Often the hardest part isn't changing. It's acknowledging the truth you've avoided. Choosing yourself may feel strange at first. You might wonder if you're allowed to make changes, if you're being unreasonable, if you're letting someone down. But choosing yourself doesn't mean rejecting others. It means you stop rejecting yourself to accommodate everyone else. With time, you'll notice the small ways you've been shrinking, the times you stayed quiet when it mattered, the moments you said yes while your whole body begged you to say no. As your awareness grows, it becomes harder to live out of alignment. You'll also notice your reactions change. What used to trigger anxiety loses its grip. People or situations that once intimidated you no longer define your worth. And instead of asking, what do they want from me? You'll begin asking, what feels right for me? That shift might seem subtle, but it's life-changing. Soon your energy will speak before you do. People feel when someone is grounded. You won't need to justify or defend it. It shows in your walk, your voice, your choices. You won't rush to earn approval or fear silence. You'll carry a peace born of alignment, not avoidance. There will still be moments of doubt, times when old patterns tug at you. Times you'll want to slip back into what's familiar just because it feels safe. These aren't failures, they're signs you're evolving. Growth shakes the ground before it steadies. Hear this, you're not starting from zero. Everything you've experienced, mistakes, fears faced, quiet realizations, has brought you here. Nothing was wasted. You're not creating yourself from nothing. You're arriving at yourself. If you're still listening, you're different. You're not average. You're ready to break patterns, level up, and choose yourself, no matter what. Let that be seen. Drop a comment and complete the sentence. I'm becoming someone who, because once you speak it, the transformation is already in motion. If something inside whispers, it's time, trust it. If a part of your life feels too small for who you're becoming, trust that too. If something doesn't fit anymore, stop forcing it. You don't need permission to outgrow what isn't aligned. Your life opens the moment you do, and the world responds when you say, not with doubt or apology, but with certainty, I choose myself.